Welcome, dear dreamers, to another night with Whispers of the Night. Before we begin, gently settle into your space, whether in bed or a cozy chair. Allow your body to feel supported, your muscles softening, and your mind ready to drift. If you haven't yet, tap that subscribe button and press the bell so you never miss our nightly journeys into calm and soothing stories, crafted to guide you into deep, restful sleep. Tonight, we step together into a quiet village, to an old house at the edge of the woods. Its mysterious blue windows holding secrets and memories from decades past. Imagine the soft glow of the windows welcoming you, their light gentle and inviting. Let your thoughts drift like clouds, leaving behind the worries of the day. The story you are about to hear will carry you slowly into the soft embrace of sleep. Feel the comfort of your blanket or pillow, the gentle rise and fall of your chest with each breath, and know that tonight you are safe, you are calm, and you are ready to dream. So take a deep, slow breath in and let it out, feeling tension melting away. Tonight, the whispers of the house, the memories it holds, and the glow of its blue windows will guide you. Allow yourself to listen, to imagine, and to relax as the tale of the house with blue windows begins. Take a long, gentle breath in and slowly exhale. Feel the weight of your body supported, your arms and legs growing heavy and soft. Begin to notice your surroundings in the quiet of the night, the faint sounds around you, and the gentle rhythm of your own heartbeat. Imagine yourself walking along a quiet, lantern-lit lane, soft mist curling around the edges of the path. Ahead, an old house rests at the edge of the woods, its blue windows glowing faintly, shimmering in the evening light. Step closer, slowly, letting your mind take in every detail, the gentle sway of the trees, the distant chirp of crickets, the subtle scent of rain and flowers carried on the wind. Enter the house gently, noticing the soft creak of the floorboards under your feet, the warm glow of candlelight in the corners. In the parlor, an open diary rests on a small table, and a music box sits beside it, waiting to be heard. Every corner of the room is calm, every shadow soft, every sound gentle. Imagine sitting by the window, letting the cool glass brush your fingertips, feeling the pulse of the house as though it breathes alongside you. The light from the blue windows spreads across the floor, reflecting in warm, gentle waves, and you feel every breath carrying you deeper into calm. Visualize the music box opening slowly, its soft tune filling the room, lulling your thoughts too quiet. Feel your shoulders soften, your jaw unclench, your arms growing heavy and relaxed. Let your mind drift with the rhythm of the gentle melody, your thoughts slowing, drifting like leaves on a still pond. Notice the faint whispers of the house, soft, tender memories held carefully for decades, and allow them to wash over you. Each sound, each shadow, each glow is safe, soothing, and gentle. Imagine the garden outside, bathed in silver moonlight, leaves swaying lightly, raindrops glistening softly, a serene and magical atmosphere. Your body grows heavier, your mind quieter, and your heart slower. Each breath takes you deeper into rest, each exhale releasing tension and worry. You feel cradled in comfort, protected and serene, ready to drift completely into sleep. Let the whispers, the glow of the blue windows, and the gentle tune of the music box carry you now, letting go completely. With every sound, every reflection, every soft detail, you sink further into calm. Sleep is coming softly, gently, effortlessly. You are safe. You are calm. You are ready to rest. The house, the windows, the music, and the whispers all guide you into the peace of night. The house with blue windows. The stranger at the end of the lane. Anna arrived in the quiet village in the late afternoon, when the sun hung low over the horizon, casting its golden light across the rows of old stone cottages and narrow cobblestone streets. The air was cool and carried the faint scent of damp earth and the lingering sweetness of wildflowers that grew in the untended meadows beyond the village edge. She had traveled for hours along winding country roads, the rhythmic hum of the carriage wheels and the gentle creak of the wooden frame providing a soothing accompaniment to her thoughts. Despite the long journey, Anna felt a sense of anticipation, an almost magnetic pull that seemed to guide her steps toward the house she had never seen but had somehow always known existed in the recesses of her mind. The village itself seemed to hold its breath as she walked through it. There were only a few villagers visible, tending to their small gardens, repairing fences, or simply lingering on porches in the soft warmth of the fading sun. Their eyes followed her for a moment as she passed, polite but wary, and Anna sensed the quiet tension that clung to this place, subtle yet undeniable. There were whispers, she realized, though she heard no words, an almost imperceptible murmuring that rose from the cobblestones and the walls of the cottages, as though the village itself remembered something long past and waited for her arrival with a mixture of caution and curiosity. The path that led to her grandmother's house was narrow and overgrown, flanked by tall, untamed hedgerows and ancient oak trees whose twisted branches reached out like skeletal fingers across the road. A soft wind rustled through the leaves, carrying with it the sound of distant birdsong and the faint crackle of dry twigs underfoot. Anna walked slowly, taking in the scenery, noticing the way the shadows lengthened and stretched across the ground as the sun sank lower. Each step seemed to carry her further from the world she had known and deeper into a place suspended in time, where the ordinary rules of life felt softened by the hush of nature and the gentle weight of memory. As she approached the house, it emerged from the greenery like a figure stepping into the light. It was an old building, larger than she had imagined from the letters and stories she had received, yet smaller in a way that made it intimate, almost protective. Its walls were weathered, the stone dulled by time, and patches of ivy clung stubbornly to the exterior, winding in intricate patterns that suggested decades, perhaps centuries, of quiet growth. The roof was slanted and uneven in places, with shingles worn smooth by rain and wind. But what struck Anna first, and held her gaze with a strange intensity, were the windows, 4 of them at the front, framed with dark wood, their panes a deep, unnatural blue that shimmered faintly even in the waning daylight. It was as though they contained a sky of their own, a miniature world that reflected both the calm of dusk and the storm of something unspoken. She paused at the edge of the gravel path leading up to the front door. Her hand hovered briefly over the wrought iron gate, which groaned softly as she pushed it open, and she felt a shiver run down her spine. The village had warned her in hushed tones, sometimes glancing over their shoulders, that the house was haunted, that it had always been haunted, that the blue windows had seen things no one was meant to see. Yet there was no fear in her, not the kind that paralyzed. Instead, there was curiosity, a quiet determination to understand, to uncover whatever story lingered in the house's walls. She had come to this place not merely to claim an inheritance, but to find connection, to touch a past that had been kept just out of reach for too long. The front door was heavy, carved with intricate patterns that had softened with age, and when Anna pressed her palm against it, the surface felt cool and smooth. She hesitated, sensing the threshold between the world she had left behind and the one she was about to enter. The air was different here, denser, charged with a subtle energy that seemed to hum faintly in her ears. Taking a deep breath, she turned the handle and stepped inside. The interior was dim, but not unwelcoming. Dust motes floated in the beams of the last sunlight that filtered through the blue windows, casting tiny rainbows across the polished wooden floors. The air smelled of old wood, lavender, and something else she could not name, a hint of candle smoke, perhaps, or the lingering aroma of flowers long since wilted. The hall was lined with faded portraits of people she did not know, their eyes following her as she moved. They were stern faces, solemn yet not unkind, framed in ornate gold and mahogany, their presence commanding a quiet respect. Anna ran her fingers lightly along the edges of a frame, feeling the grooves and imperfections in the wood, and wondered about the lives these faces had once led. She walked slowly through the rooms, noting the furniture, tall bookshelves heavy with leather-bound volumes, tables polished smooth with age, chairs arranged as though their owners had only just stepped away. Every corner seemed to hold a secret, a story waiting to be discovered, and Anna felt the thrill of anticipation mingle with a strange, gentle apprehension. In the kitchen, she noticed an old copper kettle still resting on the stove, and the faint outline of a pattern etched into the stone floor. In the living room, a fireplace lay dormant, its hearth cold but inviting, and above it, a mirror reflected the soft glow of the blue windows, doubling their ethereal light as the sun dipped below the horizon. The room grew quieter, and the shadows lengthened. Anna found herself drawn toward one of the front windows, unable to resist the pull of the blue glass. She pressed her hand against the pane, feeling the chill of it seep through her fingers, and stared out at the darkening woods beyond. The trees were silhouettes now, tall and mysterious, swaying slightly in the evening breeze. Somewhere in the distance, the faint sound of water running over rocks reached her ears, and she imagined the village settling into night, the lights in the cottages dimming one by one as families retreated indoors. A sudden movement in the corner of her eye made her turn, but there was nothing, only the gentle sway of a curtain catching the last glimmer of light. She told herself it was her imagination, a trick of the shadows. But her heart still fluttered with that mixture of wonder and unease that had accompanied her throughout the journey. The house felt alive in a way that was hard to describe, as though it breathed with the rhythm of her own pulse, and she realized she did not want to leave its quiet embrace, even though she knew the night would bring unknown sounds and perhaps restless memories. Anna set down her bag and began to explore further, moving from room to room with careful steps. Each space had its own character, its own mood. The study was lined with bookshelves that reached the ceiling, and the faint scent of old paper made her chest tighten with nostalgia for a past she had never known. In the bedroom, she ran her hand over the carved headboard of a 4-poster bed, feeling the smooth grooves worn into it by hands long gone. A faint draft whispered through the room, making the curtains ripple and casting the shadows of the trees against the walls. It was both eerie and comforting, a reminder that the house had weathered countless seasons, storms, and stories, and it would endure long after she had left. Time passed without her noticing. The sky darkened fully, stars appearing one by one like tiny lanterns hung in the vast indigo canopy above. The blue windows glimmered in the moonlight, casting faint reflections on the floor and walls, and Anna found herself standing before them again, captivated. She imagined the lives of those who had once looked through these same panes, the laughter and tears, the quiet moments of contemplation, the whispered secrets exchanged in hushed voices. Perhaps it was the magic of memory that clung to the glass, or perhaps it was simply the weight of time, preserved in every groove, every brushstroke of paint, every crack in the wood. The house creaked and settled around her, small sounds that reminded her it was alive, not in the way of a person, but in the way a heart can hold countless stories and emotions, carrying them forward across years. Anna felt a connection to it that was immediate and profound, a sense that she had come not merely to inherit a house, but to participate in its story, to become part of the lineage of memory and care that had long defined this place. She imagined herself here, night after night, discovering the secrets hidden in the attic, in the faded furniture, in the whispers that seemed to float just beyond hearing. As darkness settled fully, Anna lit a small lantern she had brought with her, its warm glow mingling with the soft blue light from the windows. The room was transformed, shadows dancing across the walls, the air alive with possibility and quiet expectation. She felt both apprehensive and exhilarated, aware that she was on the threshold of something extraordinary, something that had been waiting for her arrival long before she knew she existed. She sat for a moment, letting the stillness envelop her, and listened to the faint creak of the floorboards, the rustle of leaves outside, and the distant, gentle murmur of voices carried by the wind. Finally, she set the lantern down and allowed herself to move slowly toward the staircase, running her fingers along the banister as she ascended. The house welcomed her with its silence, its shadows, and its quiet secrets. She could feel the weight of history in every corner, and though she did not yet understand the full measure of what had occurred here, she sensed that this place would shape her as much as she would shape it. Reaching the top of the stairs, Anna paused at the landing and looked out through one of the blue windows. The moon hung low and full, illuminating the garden beyond and casting silver streaks across the worn stone path. A gentle breeze stirred the curtains, and for a moment she thought she heard a whisper carried on the wind. A name, perhaps, or a memory, or merely the echo of the house itself reaching out. She smiled faintly, a shiver running down her spine, and stepped back, knowing that she had arrived at the beginning of something far larger than herself. Anna settled into one of the bedrooms for the night, placing her bag carefully in the corner and taking a final look around the room. The shadows of the furniture stretched long across the floor, and the blue windows glimmered faintly, as though alive with their own heartbeat. She climbed into the bed, feeling the smoothness of the worn linens beneath her fingers, and let herself sink into the quietude of the house. Outside, the wind whispered through the trees, carrying the scent of damp earth and the faint sound of distant waters. She closed her eyes, feeling the weight of anticipation, of mystery, and of home all at once. In that moment, Anna understood that this house, with its blue windows and silent walls, would not merely be a place to stay. It would be a companion, a teacher, a keeper of stories long forgotten and yet still alive. And she, too, would become part of its story, a stranger no longer, but a participant in a living tapestry of memory, emotion, and time. As sleep began to take her, she felt a final shiver of wonder, a sense that the house had been waiting for her arrival, that it had known she would come, and that together they would unravel the mysteries of the past, one quiet night at a time. The windows that watched Anna had spent her first day in the house, exploring every room, moving slowly and deliberately, as if she could feel the weight of its history pressing against her skin. By the time night fell, a soft hush had settled over the house, and she found herself returning again and again to the blue windows at the front, their glass faintly glowing in the dark like distant lanterns. The dim light reflected across the polished wooden floors, reaching the corners of the rooms she had already walked through, spilling across the faded rugs and catching on the edges of the furniture. It was a subtle, almost imperceptible glow, but it drew her like a tide, pulling her gaze and her thoughts outward toward something she could not yet name. The first night was the most difficult. The silence of the house was absolute in a way she had never experienced before. There were no distant city noises, no hum of traffic, no faint vibrations through the floorboards, only the small creaks and sighs of the house settling, the occasional whisper of wind through the cracks in the old walls, and the gentle, insistent glow of the blue windows. Anna moved from room to room, her fingers brushing the edges of furniture and the spines of books, trying to feel a sense of orientation, of ownership, of belonging. But each room seemed to shift subtly as she walked through it, shadows stretching longer than they should, corners appearing slightly different than they had moments before. She noticed the first whisper, just as she reached the doorway of the study. It was soft, almost fragile, like the brush of a feather against the ear. She froze, her heart quickening, and listened. At first, she thought it might have been the wind, shifting through a crack in the old window frame. But then she heard it again, clearer this time, a single word, delicate and trembling, her name. "Anna," it whispered, barely audible, a voice that seemed to come from nowhere and everywhere at once. Her breath caught, and for a moment she stood perfectly still, trying to locate the source. The house was empty. She could see no one, hear no movement beyond her own footsteps, and yet the feeling of being observed was undeniable. The air around her seemed charged with a quiet energy, subtle yet insistent, as if the walls themselves were watching, remembering. Anna pressed her hand against the nearest blue window and felt the faint chill of glass through her palm. The light within it seemed to pulse slightly, as if it were breathing with the rhythm of the house itself. She pulled back slightly, unsettled, yet unable to tear her gaze away. As she moved through the hallways, the whispers continued. Sometimes they were faint and distant, barely audible, like echoes bouncing off walls long abandoned. Other times they were closer, brushing against her ear, so soft she could not tell whether they were real or imagined. The words themselves were fragmentary, indistinct, carried with the rhythm of longing and memory, a sigh, a laugh, half-heard, a half-formed name that lingered in the air. Anna could feel the history of the house pressing into her, and with it a strange responsibility, a sense that she had arrived not by accident, but because the house itself had called her here. The blue windows became her anchor. She returned to them repeatedly, drawn to their faint glow, to the way they caught the light of the moon, which had risen now, painting the garden beyond in silver and shadow. She would stand before them for long stretches, listening, imagining the lives that had unfolded within these walls. Perhaps it had been a family who once laughed and argued in the same rooms, their voices now echoes caught in the glass. Perhaps there had been secrets kept in the attic, letters hidden behind panels, and promises whispered under the same pale glow. Each reflection in the glass seemed to shimmer with memory, the surface of the windows vibrating with the weight of all that had come before. The shadows themselves seemed alive. When Anna moved, she noticed them stretching and shrinking, bending in ways that did not always match her own movements. At first, she attributed it to the flicker of her lantern, or the moonlight shifting across the walls. But then she caught glimpses of shapes, a figure standing just beyond the edge of her vision, the impression of someone passing silently along the hallway, a fleeting reflection in the glass that disappeared when she turned her head. The house was full of presences, some faint and benign, others insistent, and she began to understand that the blue windows were the point at which past and present intersected, night after night. Anna grew more attuned to the rhythms of the house. She began to hear subtle patterns in the whispers, repetitions in the way the shadows moved, the way the light shifted across the windows. Sometimes she would sit in the parlor with a book in hand, only to notice that the words on the page blurred as though the air itself carried them away. Other times, she would wander into the hallways, following the faint hum of the unseen, tracing the edges of furniture as if she could read the stories written into the grain of the wood. The house demanded attention, and Anna gave herself fully, her curiosity deepening with each passing hour. The kitchen, with its heavy wooden table and rows of copper pots hanging above the stove, was one of the places where the whispers seemed to gather. Anna would sometimes hear faint murmurs as she arranged her modest meals, the sound of movement that was not her own. She told herself it was the house settling, the wind in the cracks, the echo of her own heartbeat. Yet, deep down, she felt that she was being observed, remembered by something that had once lived, breathed, and laughed within these walls. There was a warmth to it, a longing, and she realized that she did not mind being watched. There was a comfort in the knowledge that someone or something was present, even if unseen. Anna's nights became a dance of attention and surrender. She would lie awake in the bedroom, listening to the soft creaks of the house, the rustling of leaves outside, the faint sighs carried through the blue windows. Sometimes she would glimpse reflections in the glass that seemed to move independently of her own, shapes that lingered at the edges of perception. At first, these fleeting images startled her, but over time she began to regard them with fascination rather than fear. She began to anticipate them, wondering what story each might tell, what memory each might hold. There was a particular moment when she realized that the house itself had a rhythm. The creaks of the floors, the subtle shifts in temperature, the faint flutter of shadows, all seemed to follow a pulse, a heartbeat that was not hers but belonged to the house. It was during one such moment, standing before the largest of the blue windows in the parlor, that she first felt a clear sense of presence. The air grew warmer, the whispers coalesced into something almost tangible, and she felt as though unseen eyes were watching her, measuring her, testing her understanding of this quiet, storied place. Anna pressed her palm to the cool glass and closed her eyes, allowing herself to become part of the rhythm, to align with the pulse that had persisted long before her arrival. The whispers grew slightly louder, forming shapes out of sound, half-words, fragments of laughter, the sigh of a voice caught in memory. She imagined the people who had lived here, their joys and sorrows, their arguments and reconciliations, the passage of everyday life through the corridors. And she felt, for the first time, that the house acknowledged her presence, that it had accepted her as one who could understand its silence, its weight, and its whispers. Hours passed without her noticing. The moon traveled across the sky, bathing the garden and the front path in soft silver light. The blue windows glimmered faintly, almost breathing, as if responding to her presence. Shadows stretched and receded along the walls, sometimes aligning with the shapes of furniture, sometimes diverging in ways that suggested the contours of another world. Anna felt no fear, only wonder, as she moved among these shifting forms, allowing the house to guide her, to teach her, to reveal its quiet secrets in a language older than words. By the middle of the night, she had grown accustomed to the whispers. They no longer startled her. Instead, they became companions, a network of soft sounds that seemed to echo her own thoughts and feelings. She would speak quietly to them, half in curiosity, half in jest, and sometimes she imagined faint responses, a vibration in the air that suggested acknowledgement. The house was alive, not in a way that could be measured or quantified, but in the way that memory and emotion can inhabit space, leaving traces that persist long after the original voices have faded. Anna explored further, moving through the upstairs hallways and into rooms she had not yet examined. Each space had its own character, one with a large wardrobe that smelled faintly of cedar, another with a writing desk whose drawers were full of yellowed papers and dried flowers. She paused frequently, listening, touching, observing. The house seemed to respond to her curiosity, offering glimpses of its hidden corners, faint shadows that suggested life and laughter long past, reflections in the blue windows that hinted at figures who had once occupied these rooms. As dawn approached, Anna found herself drawn back to the front windows, watching the first light of morning filter through the glass. The whispers faded gradually, retreating into the corners of the house, leaving only the quiet hum of the walls settling and the gentle chirping of birds outside. She pressed her hands once more to the glass, feeling the faint warmth that now radiated from it, and for a moment she thought she saw the outline of a figure standing just beyond the edge of perception. Then it was gone, leaving only the memory of presence, the undeniable sense that the house had acknowledged her, welcomed her, and shared its quiet. Watchful spirit, Anna retreated to the bedroom, exhausted but exhilarated, her mind alight with the knowledge that this house held more than stone and wood. It held memory, longing, and perhaps even a kind of life that transcended time. She lay down, listening to the subtle rhythms of the walls, the occasional sigh of the wind, and the soft pulse of the blue windows. Sleep came gradually, a gentle surrender to the night, and in that sleep, she dreamt of shadows, of laughter, of voices calling her name, and of a house that watched, patiently and endlessly, as it had for generations. The Diary in the Attic. Anna had spent the morning wandering through the lower floors of the house, noticing small details she had overlooked the night before. The uneven grain of the wooden floorboards, the faint patterns left by candle wax on the mantel, the subtle variations of color in the faded wallpaper. Each room seemed to speak in its own quiet language, and though the house remained mostly silent, there was a persistent hum in the air, a memory that resonated through every corner. As the afternoon sun shifted westward, she felt an irresistible pull toward the staircase that led to the attic, a part of the house she had yet to explore. The door to the attic was tucked away at the end of a narrow hallway, almost hidden behind a tall bookcase that creaked as she brushed past it. The handle was cold beneath her fingers, the wood worn smooth by years of touch, and as she turned it, a faint draft carried the scent of dust, old paper, and something floral, almost like lavender mixed with rain. The stairs groaned under her weight as she ascended, each step echoing softly in the enclosed space. The attic smelled of age and memory, of things left behind and forgotten, of moments paused in time and waiting patiently for discovery. When Anna reached the top, she pushed open the attic door and was greeted by a space bathed in muted light from a small window near the peak of the roof. Dust motes floated lazily in the rays of sunlight, turning the air into a shimmering haze. The attic was filled with boxes, trunks, and stacks of old furniture, each item draped with yellowed cloths that hinted at careful preservation. The ceiling sloped sharply, following the contours of the roof, and the exposed beams overhead gave the room a sense of intimacy despite its size. Anna took a slow breath, letting the quiet settle around her, and stepped carefully among the forgotten treasures. Her gaze landed on a small wooden chest tucked into a shadowed corner. Its surface was scratched and dulled by time, and the brass latch was tarnished but intact. Something about it drew her attention more than the larger trunks or the towering shelves of books. She knelt in front of it, running her fingers over the carved patterns in the wood, and felt a pulse of anticipation that made her heart beat a little faster. The latch lifted with a soft click, and inside, layered among folded linens and dried ribbons, lay a leather-bound book, worn at the edges and delicate with age. Anna carefully lifted the diary, noting the soft scent of old leather mixed with the faint tang of ink. The cover bore no name, only the faint impression of initials, MV. Her breath caught as she realized who it must belong to: Marin, her grandmother's sister, a woman who had vanished from family stories like a whisper, mentioned only in vague allusions and half-remembered warnings. The diary was small, intimate, and clearly cherished by someone who had poured both thought and emotion into every page. Anna opened it carefully, feeling the fragile paper beneath her fingers, and was immediately drawn into the handwriting, looping, elegant, and precise, yet carrying occasional smudges and hurried strokes, as if the author had been writing in moments of urgency or distraction. The first entries told of simple daily life in the house. The way the morning sun fell across the parlor, the smell of bread baking in the kitchen, the patterns of light through the blue windows that Anna had already come to know so well. But as she read further, the diary became more intimate, more urgent. Marin wrote of a love that was forbidden, a man who had captured her heart in secret, a passion that had to be hidden from those who would disapprove. The pages trembled with emotion, the words flowing from joy to sorrow in a rhythm that was almost musical. Anna felt herself leaning closer, as though she could hear the whispered laughter and sighs carried through the years. There were mentions of evenings spent by the blue windows, where promises were exchanged and hearts revealed themselves under the muted light of the glass. Marin described how the panes seemed to glow in response to her emotions, reflecting not the world outside, but the world within her. Anna traced her fingers over the words, imagining Marin there, standing in the same room, speaking to someone who could not yet be named in this diary, feeling the same connection to the house that she herself now experienced. As Anna continued reading, the diary took on a darker tone. There were descriptions of arguments, of storms brewing both outside and within the family, of fear and secrecy. Marin wrote of nights spent listening to the wind rattle the windows, of shadows moving across the walls that were sometimes real and sometimes imagined. Anna could feel the tension in the air of the attic, as if the echoes of those long-ago nights had settled among the beams and boxes, waiting for her discovery. She felt a shiver run down her spine, not of fear, but of the thrill that comes from understanding a story firsthand, from touching history in a way that transcends words. One of the passages spoke of a particular stormy night when Marin and her secret love had met at the blue windows. The language was intense, emotional, and full of longing. The diary described how the windows had seemed to reflect their own hearts, the light pulsing like a beacon in the darkness, the wind whipping around the house in chaotic harmony with the turmoil of their feelings. And then, abruptly, the entry ended in smudged ink, the final lines torn or obscured, leaving the story unfinished. Anna stared at the blotches and tears in the paper, feeling a tug of frustration mixed with fascination. The diary was a window into a life that had been lived fully and passionately. Yet it left questions that could not easily be answered. The attic seemed to grow quieter as she read, the dust motes still floating lazily in the sunbeam, the shadows stretching across the floor in ways that seemed to echo the shapes described in the diary. Anna felt a deep empathy for Maren, imagining her standing by the windows, watching the rain streak the glass, waiting for something, someone who might never return. The house itself seemed to respond to her attention, the faint creaks and groans of the beams echoing like a heartbeat, a rhythm that was both comforting and unsettling. She lingered over the pages, careful not to tear or damage the fragile paper. Each line brought new layers of emotion, the joy of secret smiles, the tension of hidden meetings, the fear of discovery, and the overwhelming grief that followed. Maren's handwriting grew sloppier toward the end, as if the words themselves could barely contain the intensity of her feelings. Anna could almost feel the hand trembling over the paper, the breath catching, the quiet sobs that might have accompanied the hurried writing. It was intimate, raw, and deeply human, a connection across time that left Anna feeling both honored and haunted. As evening fell and the light in the attic dimmed, the blue windows of the house began to glow faintly in the distance, a reminder of the connection that spanned generations. Anna closed the diary for a moment and looked out through the small attic window, imagining the glow of the larger panes below, imagining Maren standing there, waiting, hoping, dreaming. The house seemed alive in response to her thoughts, the shadows deepening, the faint whispers brushing along the edges of her hearing. She was not alone here, not in the way the villagers might have feared, but in the quiet, persistent presence of memory, longing, and unfinished stories. Anna returned to the diary, reading the final legible entries repeatedly, absorbing the intensity of the moments captured within the pages. The words spoke of promises made beneath the blue windows, of love declared in secrecy, and of fears that had never been voiced aloud. And then there were the gaps, smudges, torn pages, lines left unfinished, which haunted her more than any ghost. The story was incomplete, a tapestry half-woven, and Anna felt the weight of that incompletion pressing on her heart. The diary demanded attention, demanded care, demanded that someone, perhaps her, bear witness to what had transpired long ago. Hours passed, though Anna scarcely noticed. The sun had long since set, leaving the attic bathed in the cool silver of moonlight that filtered through the small window. The diary lay open on her lap, her fingers tracing the words, as if by touch she could bridge the gap of decades. The house creaked and sighed around her, settling into the night, and she felt the presence of Maren more strongly than ever. Not as a ghost, exactly, but as a lingering spirit of memory, embedded in the wood, the walls, and the very light that fell from the blue windows. It was an intimate companionship, one that made Anna feel both comforted and melancholic, a connection to a life that had been lived fully, yet tragically. Finally, she closed the diary, careful to preserve its fragile pages, and placed it back in the wooden chest. She lingered in the attic, listening to the soft murmurs of the house, feeling the weight of stories held in silence for so long. The blue windows glimmered faintly below, and she knew that they had witnessed every secret, every tear, every smile, every heartbreak that Marin had recorded. Anna felt a sense of responsibility, a duty to honor the memories held within these walls, and a growing awareness that her own story was now intertwined with the history of this house. As she descended the attic stairs, the house seemed to exhale around her, the shadows shifting in gentle acknowledgement of her presence. She set the diary carefully aside in her room, placing it on a small table near the blue window, and sat down to watch the glow of the glass. The whispers continued softly, fragments of voices that were part memory, part imagination, part something more. Anna closed her eyes, letting herself listen, letting herself feel, understanding that the house was not haunted by fear, but by love, longing, and the echoes of lives lived deeply within its walls. The night stretched on, and Anna remained by the window, thinking of Marin and the unfinished diary, of the storms that had raged both outside and inside the house, of the promises made beneath the blue glass that had never been fully fulfilled. She imagined the past spilling into the present, and she understood, in a quiet, profound way, that the house had been waiting for her, for someone who could bear witness, who could listen, who could hold the memories without judgment, without fear. The diary had opened a door, and now it was her choice whether to step through, to uncover more, to embrace the lingering presence of lives long gone, yet still felt. Eventually, Anna lay down to sleep, the diary resting nearby, the faint blue glow of the windows casting shadows across the room. She felt the pull of history in her bones, the quiet heartbeat of the house beneath her, and the soft whispers in the corners of her mind. In that stillness, she understood that she was no longer merely a visitor. She was a participant, a guardian, a keeper of stories that had waited decades for attention. And as her eyes closed, the house seemed to breathe with her, the glow of the blue windows pulsing like a heartbeat, a steady, enduring reminder that memory, love, and longing can transcend time, and that some stories are never truly finished. They merely wait for someone to notice them. The man in the photograph. The morning light filtered softly through the blue windows as Anna awoke, the room bathed in a gentle hue that seemed both familiar and otherworldly. The diary she had discovered in the attic lay open on the small table by the window, its pages inviting her gaze once again. She rose carefully, stretching and letting the quiet of the house wrap around her like a familiar cloak. The air smelled faintly of old wood and lavender, with a whisper of rain carried in from the distant hills. Even in the brightness of day, the house maintained a hushed quality, as though it were holding its breath, waiting for her to continue her exploration, to follow its quiet guidance deeper into the past. Anna began her day as she had the previous one, moving slowly from room to room, examining the furniture, the walls, the subtle differences in the light that filtered through the windows. Her steps were deliberate, careful, as if she did not wish to disturb the equilibrium of the house. There was a rhythm here, a pulse that she had come to recognize, the gentle sigh of settling beams, the the soft groan of the floorboards, the faint echo of wind brushing the trees outside. Every sound seemed to be part of a greater melody, one composed by the house itself over decades, centuries perhaps, and she felt a deep respect for its presence. As she moved into the parlor, her eyes were drawn to a small table tucked into the corner, partially hidden behind a faded armchair. On it lay a collection of framed photographs, their glass slightly fogged with age. She approached cautiously, her fingers hovering over the frames, feeling the delicate chill of the glass. One photograph in particular caught her attention. It depicted a woman and a man standing side by side in a sunlit garden. The woman was clearly Marin, youthful and radiant, her expression a mixture of joy and pensiveness. The man, however, had been deliberately obscured. The face was scratched out, as though someone had wished to erase his memory entirely from this image. Anna's heart quickened. She had expected to find traces of Marin's life in the diary, but the photograph made the past suddenly tangible in a way that words could not. Who had scratched out the man's face? Why had this image, this memory, been altered? She studied the photograph closely, noting the slight tilt of the man's head, the posture of his hands, the hint of a smile that might have been present before the scratches. It was as though the photograph itself held a secret, and Anna was being invited, compelled even to uncover it. The day passed with her alternating between reading the diary and examining the photographs. She discovered subtle patterns, connections between the written words and the images that suggested a story just beyond her grasp. The man in the photograph appeared in several of the other frames, sometimes alone, sometimes with Marin, yet always partially obscured by shadow, angle, or the scratches on the glass. Anna felt the weight of these absences, the deliberate erasure, and her mind began to fill in the blanks, imagining the life that had once existed here, full of secret meetings, stolen glances, whispered promises beneath the blue windows that now seemed to glow more vividly than ever. As evening approached, the house began to change. The light of the setting sun fell through the blue windows, casting elongated patterns across the floor, and Anna felt the familiar pull of anticipation in her chest. She lit a small lantern she had brought with her, its warm glow mingling with the cold light of the windows, and returned to the parlor. For a moment, she simply sat, observing the photograph of Marin and the obscured man. Then, as if drawn by some invisible force, her gaze lifted to the reflection in the glass of the window. At first, she thought she had imagined it. A figure, faint and indistinct, stood beyond the glass, visible only in the corner of her eye. She blinked and focused, but the figure remained ethereal, almost shimmering in the faint light. It was a man, tall and slender, his features impossible to distinguish fully. Yet there was a familiarity in his posture, the tilt of his head, the way he seemed to regard her. The air grew heavier, charged with an energy she could not define, and the house itself seemed to respond, creaking and settling with an urgency that mirrored her own rising pulse. Anna rose, moving closer to the window, her hand brushing the cool glass. The figure did not move, yet she could feel its attention, its presence, as tangible as the weight of the air around her. A whisper drifted through the room, faint but clear. Anna, the voice was soft, almost hesitant, yet unmistakable. She pressed her hand to her chest, her breath catching, and spoke aloud. though she did not fully understand why. "Who are you?" The room remained silent, save for the quiet hum of the house and the faint rustle of leaves outside. And yet she could feel it, a connection bridging time and space, linking her to a story that had remained incomplete for decades. The blue windows pulsed faintly, the light shimmering across the room, and for the first time, she understood that the house itself was a conduit, a keeper of memory, a witness to lives long past, yet still present in subtle, enduring ways. Night deepened, and the shadows grew longer and darker. Anna returned to the photograph, studying the scratches on the man's face with renewed determination. She imagined the moments that had led to this erasure: conflicts, misunderstandings, fears of discovery, perhaps even sorrow or betrayal. Yet she could also sense the love, the tenderness that had existed between him and Marin, a connection that had not been severed entirely, for the blue windows had remembered, and the house had preserved the echoes of those stolen moments, unable to resist. Anna retrieved the diary from the table and turned to the passages that spoke of the man. She read aloud softly, the words trembling on her tongue as she traced the descriptions of secret meetings, shared laughter, and whispered promises. The combination of the written memory and the photographic image brought the past vividly to life, and she could almost see Marin and the man standing by the windows, their hands brushing, their voices soft but filled with urgency, their hearts bound by longing and fear. The house responded. The creaking floorboards echoed the rhythm of footsteps, long vanished, and shadows shifted subtly along the walls. Anna felt herself drawn once again to the reflection in the window. The figure appeared closer now, more defined, yet still shrouded in an ethereal haze. She could sense the warmth of his presence, the intensity of emotion lingering in the air, and she realized that this was not merely a memory, but a call, a reaching across the years for someone who could witness and acknowledge what had been lost. Hours passed with Anna sitting before the window, alternating between the diary and the photograph, piecing together fragments of a story that had remained unfinished. She felt a deep empathy for Marin, for the man whose face had been scratched from the photograph, and for the lives that had intersected in this house in ways both tender and tragic. The blue windows glimmered softly, reflecting not the light outside, but the emotions and memories held within the walls, a subtle pulse that seemed to resonate with her own heartbeat as midnight approached. A sudden movement in the reflection caught her off guard. The figure of the man seemed to shift slightly, tilting his head, as if studying her with curiosity. The whisper came again, this time more urgent, more insistent. Anna, she felt a shiver run down her spine, the hairs on her arms standing on end. She pressed her hand to the glass, and though she could feel nothing tangible, the sensation of presence was undeniable, as if time itself had folded, bringing past and present together in this single, quiet moment. Anna's thoughts swirled with questions. Who was he? What had happened between him and Marin? Why had the photograph been altered? And most importantly, what did the house expect of her? She understood that she had been brought here not merely as a visitor, but as a witness, a participant, someone capable of sensing and honoring the lingering threads of lives that had been intertwined in this very place. The house had waited for her, and she now recognized the responsibility she carried to uncover, to understand, and perhaps to bring closure to stories left incomplete. Night stretched on, and Anna remained by the window, alternately reading the diary and gazing at the photograph. The blue windows pulsed faintly in response to her attention, as though encouraging her, guiding her, affirming that the presence she sensed was real and significant. Shadows moved subtly in the corners of the room, reflecting shapes that were neither entirely present nor entirely imagined. She understood that the house itself had become a vessel, preserving the essence of people who had lived and loved here long ago. Eventually, exhaustion overcame her, and she lay down on the couch in the parlor, the diary and photograph resting on the table beside her. The whispers had grown quieter, retreating into the corners of the house, leaving only the subtle pulse of the blue windows and the soft rhythm of the wind through the trees outside. Sleep came slowly, a gentle surrender to the night, and in her dreams she saw the man and Marin standing by the blue windows, their faces illuminated by the soft glow, their hands reaching toward each other across the years. When she awoke, the first light of dawn streamed through the windows, painting the room in soft gold and silver hues. The photograph and diary remained where she had left them, untouched, yet their presence now felt more alive, more immediate. Anna rose and moved toward the window, pressing her hand once again to the cool glass. She felt a sense of anticipation, a quiet understanding that the house had more to reveal, that the story of Marin and the man was far from complete, and that she, too, was now entwined in its unfolding. The blue windows pulsed faintly in the morning light, and Anna knew that she would spend the days ahead piecing together the fragments of the past, tracing the connections between diary and photograph, between memory and presence, until the story revealed itself fully. And though questions remained, she felt no fear, only determination and a profound sense of wonder. The house, the windows, and the lingering presence of the man and Marin had claimed her attention, and she would not turn away. She sat by the window, the photograph in her hands, the diary open beside her, listening to the faint hum of the house, the soft creak of the floorboards, the distant whisper of wind through the trees. And in that quiet, suspended moment, she understood something deep and immutable, that some stories are not confined by time, that love and longing can echo across decades, and that the house with blue windows had waited for someone to see, to witness, and to carry forward the memory of what had once been and might still be in ways she could scarcely imagine. The night of returning light. The days had slipped by in a gentle rhythm, each one blending seamlessly into the next, marked by the subtle changes in light filtering through the blue windows and the soft creaks and sighs of the old house. Anna had become increasingly attuned to the pulse of the home, the way it seemed to breathe and whisper, its walls alive with memory. The diary of Marin remained open beside her each day, and the photograph of the man she could not name rested against the table, a silent companion to her discoveries. Yet there was a restlessness within her, an unspoken tension, as though the house had withheld its most vital secret until the proper moment arrived. The afternoon sun slanted low, brushing the floorboards with gold and silver. When Anna sensed the first stirrings of change, she had been wandering the upper hallways, examining the shadowed corners and familiar furnishings, when she felt a warmth ripple through the air. Subtle at first, and then stronger, more insistent. The blue windows glimmered faintly in response, their glass alive with a light that seemed to pulse with its own heartbeat. Anna paused, feeling her pulse quicken, the air vibrating around her with an energy she had not felt before. The house, she realized, was awakening, preparing for something it had long anticipated. The whispers returned, but this time they were different. They were louder, more coherent, and carried a sense of urgency. Anna, the voices called, soft yet unmistakable, as if drawing her toward some hidden truth. She followed instinctively, her bare feet brushing along the wooden floorboards, her hands trailing lightly along the walls as she moved. The energy in the air seemed almost electric, a charge that made the fine hairs on her arms stand on end. The house was alive in a way she could feel physically, and every instinct told her that something extraordinary was about to unfold. Her steps led her to the parlor, where the blue windows glowed brighter than ever, casting elongated patterns across the floor and walls. The diary and photograph rested where she had left them, yet they seemed somehow transformed, imbued with an energy that had not been present before. Anna approached the windows slowly, heart pounding, drawn by the light and the whispers. Outside, the garden was shrouded in the soft silver of twilight, and the air carried the faint scent of wet earth and blooming flowers, as if the night itself had conspired to heighten the moment. Anna pressed her palm to the glass, feeling the coolness beneath her fingers and the pulse of energy that seemed to radiate from within. The house thrummed around her, the beams settling with an almost musical rhythm, the shadows stretching and bending in patterns that mirrored the fluttering heartbeat in her chest. Then she saw it, a movement in the reflection, subtle at first, like a ripple across the surface of water, and then clearer, a figure standing beyond the glass, watching her. It was the man from the photograph, his presence more distinct than ever, as though the years separating past and present had collapsed in this single, suspended moment. The figure did not move closer, but remained just beyond the glass, as if bound by some invisible force, yet intensely aware of her presence. The whispers grew stronger, almost forming words. Remember, release light. Anna pressed her forehead gently against the cool pane, closing her eyes and listening, feeling the rhythm of the house, the pulse of the windows, and the faint warmth radiating from the figure she could neither touch nor see fully. It was as if time itself had slowed, folding past, present, and memory into one fragile, suspended instant. She thought of Marin, her heart tightening at the recollection of the diary's smudged and torn final pages. The story had always felt unfinished, a promise lingering in the air, a life cut short, or at least interrupted. And now Anna understood that the house had guided her to this moment, had preserved the energy of what had been lost, waiting for someone capable of perceiving, of understanding, and perhaps even of completing the story. The blue windows shimmered faintly, as though acknowledging her realization, their light pulsing in gentle waves across the room. Night deepened around the house, and the garden outside disappeared into shadow. The whispers coalesced into a soft chorus, voices overlapping and merging, forming a tapestry of sound that was both haunting and beautiful. Anna listened, her heart swelling with emotion, feeling the presence of Marin and the man, the echoes of love, loss, and longing that had lingered within the walls for decades. The house seemed to hold its breath, the blue windows reflecting the light of the unseen figures, casting the room in a glow that felt simultaneously ethereal and warm. A sudden breeze fluttered through the parlor, carrying with it the faint scent of rain and something floral, perhaps lavender, perhaps the memory of the past itself. Anna turned slightly, seeing a movement behind her, shadows stretching in ways that suggested presence rather than absence. She took a careful step forward, her eyes fixed on the reflection in the glass, and the figure responded subtly, tilting his head, a gesture that carried both recognition and longing. Anna realized she was no longer merely observing, she was participating, her presence intertwining with the memory of lives long past, her attention completing a circle that had remained open for decades. The diary lay open beside her, its pages rustling softly as though stirred by an invisible hand. Anna read aloud the final legible entries, words that spoke of secret meetings beneath the blue windows, promises exchanged in the quiet of night, and the intense emotions that had driven hearts to leap and falter. The room seemed to respond to her voice, the shadows lengthening and bending in time with her speech, the windows glowing brighter, as if absorbing the essence of the words and amplifying them, carrying them outward into the house, into the night, and into the memory that had waited so long to be honored. The figure beyond the glass began to shimmer faintly, less solid and more like a reflection of light and memory. Anna felt the pulse of anticipation in her chest, the quiet tremor of energy that vibrated through the floorboards and walls, and she understood that something extraordinary was about to occur. The house itself seemed to hum in unison with the blue windows, the whispers growing more coherent, more insistent. They were no longer merely echoes of the past, but a call to action, an invitation to bring closure, to allow the light that had been trapped for so long to return. Anna's hands trembled slightly as she pressed them against the cool glass. Her mind focused on the image of Marin and the man, on the unfinished story, on the weight of the years that had passed. She whispered softly, "I see you. I understand. The story will continue." The windows responded, pulsing with light, the blue glow spreading across the room in soft waves, illuminating corners that had remained shadowed for decades. The diary pages fluttered, and for a brief moment, she felt a warmth on her cheeks, as if the house itself had exhaled, releasing a breath that had been held in quiet anticipation. Time became fluid, suspended, as if the night had stretched to accommodate the energy converging within the parlor. The figure beyond the glass became clearer, the presence more palpable, and Anna felt a connection so strong it was almost overwhelming. She could sense the emotions of the past: joy, longing, fear, and hope mingling with her own, and she understood that the blue windows had served as a bridge, preserving the essence of lives, now allowing that energy to return, to resonate, to shine once more outside. The first drops of rain began to fall, pattering softly against the roof and the ground, the sound mingling with the faint whispers and the gentle pulse of the windows. Anna watched as the light from the blue glass spread across the room, reflecting in patterns that danced across the walls, floor, and ceiling. She could see fleeting shapes in the shadows, glimpses of figures long gone yet vividly present. And she realized that the house had chosen this night, the night of returning light, to release what had been held for so long. The photograph of the man and Marin seemed to shimmer slightly, the scratches on the glass appearing less harsh, softened by the glow of the windows and the energy filling the room. Anna felt tears prick at her eyes, the intensity of emotion nearly overwhelming her. She whispered softly, "It's time. You are remembered. You are free." The house responded with a gentle creak, a sigh, a vibration through the floorboards that resonated with her very heartbeat. She could feel the past and present merging, the light returning to corners long shrouded in shadow, and a sense of peace began to settle over the room. Anna remained by the window for what felt like hours, watching as the glow from the blue panes spread, filling the parlor with a warmth and brilliance that was almost tangible. The whispers faded gradually, replaced by a profound silence, one that carried the weight of completion, of understanding, of a story finally acknowledged. The rain fell steadily outside, washing the garden, the trees, the roof, and somehow it felt the memories themselves, allowing the past to shine once more in the light of the present. Finally, exhaustion overcame her, and Anna sank to the floor beside the window, the diary and photograph resting nearby. She pressed a hand to the glass, feeling the residual warmth and the soft pulse of energy lingering in the room. The blue windows glimmered faintly, their light steady and serene, no longer insistent but quietly radiant. She understood, in a deep and profound way, that the house, the diary, the photograph, and the whispers had all guided her to this moment, allowing the light trapped in memory, love, and longing to return at last. As she lay back, watching the rain streak the glass, Anna felt a sense of connection stronger than any she had known to Marin, to the man whose face had been scratched from the photograph, to the house itself, and to the thread of history woven through the blue windows. The story had been unfinished for decades, but now, in this night of returning light, it had reached a point of resonance, a moment of quiet closure, a release that had waited patiently for someone who could see, understand, and bear witness. Sleep came gently, carrying her into dreams filled with figures bathed in the soft glow of the blue windows, laughter and whispered promises echoing in the corridors of the house. The storm outside transforming into a gentle rain that cleansed the past and brightened the present. And when she awoke, the house remained tranquil, the diary and photograph unchanged, yet somehow more alive, and the blue windows shone softly, a reminder that light, memory, and love endure, patiently waiting for the moment when they may be fully acknowledged and returned to the world. When the blue fades to dawn, the first light of morning crept slowly over the horizon, brushing the tips of the trees with soft gold and painting the sky in delicate hues of pink and lavender. Anna awoke to this quiet transformation, the house around her bathed in a gentle, forgiving light, that seemed almost sacred after the intensity of the nights that had passed. The blue windows, which had glimmered and pulsed for so many decades, now reflected the dawn with a newfound clarity. Their familiar azure hue had softened and faded, leaving only the pure, transparent glass that revealed the garden outside in its full, unfiltered beauty. For the first time, Anna saw the house not merely as a vessel of memory and whispers, but as a home, fully present in the light of a new day. The air was crisp and fragrant, carrying the lingering scent of rain from the night before and the earthy aroma of soil freshly softened by water. She rose slowly, stretching her limbs and listening to the subtle sounds of the house waking with her, the gentle creak of a floorboard, the soft groan of settling beams, the quiet hum of wind threading through the eaves, the weight that had hung over her in the previous nights, the anticipation, the echoes of long-held emotions, the palpable presence of history now felt lifted, replaced with a deep, calming serenity. The house had exhaled, and Anna felt herself exhale with it, a shared breath between past and present, memory and reality. Her eyes were drawn immediately to the diary on the small table by the window. Its pages, once smudged and torn, seemed to glow faintly in the morning light. Anna reached out and touched the cover gently, reverently, and for a moment allowed herself to imagine Marin, her grandmother's sister, standing nearby, witnessing this very scene. She imagined the relief, the quiet fulfillment of the story finally being recognized, the lingering love and longing having been honored. In that moment, the diary was no longer merely a record of a lifelong past. It was a bridge connecting Anna to the depth of human emotion, to the enduring pulse of memory and time. Anna opened the windows wide, letting the morning air wash through the parlor. The curtains swayed gently in the breeze, and the soft light illuminated every corner of the room. The once shadowed areas now glowed with clarity, revealing details she had not noticed before. The intricate patterns of the rug, the delicate carvings on the wooden furniture, the subtle imperfections in the walls that added warmth rather than age. The house felt expansive and alive, no longer heavy with whispers or the weight of unseen presences. Every creak and sigh was natural, part of the living rhythm of the home rather than a harbinger of lingering spirits. Stepping closer to the windows, Anna pressed her palms against the smooth glass, feeling the coolness and the energy of the house intertwining. She thought of the nights she had spent reading the diary, observing the photograph of the man and Marin, listening to the whispers that had guided her to this moment. The intensity of emotion, the longing, the secrecy, the grief, all had now been transformed by acknowledgement, by witness, by love, and attention spanning generations. She realized that the house had never been haunted by malevolence, only by memory, waiting for someone to understand, to recognize, and to honor the stories held within its walls. The garden outside beckoned to her, bathed in the soft glow of dawn. Flowers leaned toward the light, their petals glistening with drops of rain, and the trees stretched their branches gracefully toward the sky. Anna stepped onto the porch, inhaling deeply, savoring the fragrance of the earth, the freshness of morning, and the quiet majesty of the moment. Every sound was amplified in its clarity, birds calling to one another, the rustle of leaves in the gentle wind, the faint drip of water from the eaves. It was as if the house and garden, long intertwined with the memories and emotions of the past, were now fully present, alive, and freed. She carried the diary with her to the edge of the porch and placed it carefully on a small wooden table that had long been her anchor in the house. Anna touched its cover gently, whispering a quiet thank you to Marin and the lives that had preceded her. The diary had been a conduit for understanding, a vessel for memory, and a key to unlocking the fullness of the house. It was time to let it rest, to allow the memories to remain safely within its pages, honored and preserved without demanding constant attention. The act felt ceremonial, deliberate, and profoundly satisfying. Anna turned her attention to the interior of the house one last time before stepping fully outside. She observed the blue windows, now shining clear, their once mysterious glow replaced by transparency that reflected the morning sky. The house was calm, alive in a way that did not require fear or curiosity. It simply existed, in harmony with the rhythm of life and light. She felt a profound sense of closure, as though a circle had been completed, and the presence of the past had been acknowledged and released. The whispers that had guided her had faded, leaving only the soft, natural sounds of a home truly alive. Walking down the steps of the porch, Anna's bare feet pressed into the soft, dew-kissed grass. She looked back at the house, observing the clarity of the windows and the sense of openness that now defined it. The blue, once a symbol of mystery, longing, and unfulfilled stories, had faded into the present, allowing light, air, and life to enter freely. Anna felt a quiet gratitude for the experience, understanding that the house had offered her more than memories. It had offered insight, connection, and a lesson in patience and reverence for the layers of human experience. Held within its walls, the wind played through the trees, carrying a faint whisper that might have been the house itself, or perhaps Marin's spirit, or simply the gentle acknowledgement of time past and reconciled. Anna let herself linger, standing in the garden, absorbing the scents, sounds, and sensations of this moment. There was a serenity that she had not anticipated, a profound sense of completion, as if she had participated in a ritual that bridged decades, threading her presence through the lives of those who had come before her. She walked slowly along the garden path, noting every detail, the glimmer of raindrops on petals, the subtle shimmer of spiderwebs stretched between branches, the rich, damp earth pressed lightly beneath her feet. The act of moving through the space was meditative, a continuation of the understanding she had gained inside. Every step felt deliberate, conscious, a recognition that she was both witness and participant in the ongoing life of the house and its history. Eventually, Anna paused by a small stone bench beneath a flowering tree. She sat quietly, letting the sunlight warm her face and the gentle breeze caress her hair. She reflected on the nights spent listening to whispers, reading the diary, and observing the photograph, all guided by the enigmatic presence of the blue windows. What had once been mysterious and haunting had transformed into clarity, understanding, and peace. The house had fulfilled its purpose, and she had fulfilled hers by honoring its stories and carrying them with her into the present. She thought of the man in the photograph and of Marin, imagining their presence one last time beneath the soft glow of the blue windows that had now faded to clear glass. She whispered a quiet farewell, not in sadness but in gratitude, recognizing that the story had been completed in its own way through acknowledgement and witness. The energy of the house, the light of the windows, and the memories they had preserved now existed in harmony, free from the weight of the past and ready to continue as a home, alive and breathing in the quiet rhythm of life. As Anna rose from the bench and walked back toward the house, she felt a gentle finality settle over her. The diary remained on the table, the photograph in place, and the blue windows, now clear, reflected the world outside with tranquil serenity. She opened the front door fully, allowing light and air to flood the parlor, and felt the house respond with a quiet resonance, a sense of presence without insistence, a celebration of memory honored and stories preserved. Standing in the doorway, Anna felt the last remnants of anticipation fall away. The house was no longer haunted, no longer charged with whispers, no longer a repository for unresolved longing. It existed fully in the present, alive in a quiet, natural way, radiating warmth and calm. She stepped outside, carrying with her a sense of closure, peace, and connection to the lives that had intersected in this place, understanding that her own presence had completed a chapter that had waited decades to be witnessed and honored. The garden seemed to glow under the morning light, every leaf, flower, and stone imbued with subtle vitality. Anna walked slowly along the path, feeling the ground beneath her feet, the air in her lungs, and the gentle rhythm of her own heartbeat in harmony with the pulse of the house. She felt a quiet joy, a deep understanding of the interconnectedness of past and present, of memory and experience, of love and longing, preserved and acknowledged. Finally, she paused, looking back at the house one last time. The blue windows, now clear, reflected the morning sky, the garden and the world beyond, shimmering with a quiet brilliance that spoke of stories honored, memories preserved, and lives acknowledged. Anna took a deep breath, savoring the moment, and whispered softly to herself, "Thank you." It was both a farewell and a recognition, a final acknowledgement of the house, the diary, the photograph, and the spirits that had guided her journey. Anna turned and walked slowly down the path, carrying with her the quiet serenity and closure she had gained. The house remained behind, alive and calm, ready to continue its existence as a home, a keeper of memory, and a witness to the lives that would come and go. And as she moved into the light of the new day, she felt a profound peace, a certainty that she had fulfilled her role, and a gentle awareness that some stories, though paused for decades, will always find their resolution in time, in attention, and in the quiet act of bearing witness. The blue windows, now clear and radiant, caught the first rays of the sun and reflected them into the parlor. Inside, the diary remained open, the photograph rested beside it, and the house breathed softly, alive with the quiet rhythm of a space fully reconciled with its past. Anna knew she had participated in something sacred, a bridging of time, memory, and human emotion that had brought clarity, light, and peace. The whispers had faded, the shadows had lifted, and the house, at last, was free of the weight it had carried for decades. As she walked down the garden path into the world beyond the house, Anna felt the story of Marin, the man in the photograph, and the house with blue windows live on within her. The past had been honored, the present embraced, and the future awaited with a quiet promise. She carried with her not just memories, but a profound understanding of the power of witness, acknowledgement, and love preserved across time. A lesson the house had entrusted to her gently and completely. And now, dear dreamer, the night deepens, the blue windows have faded to clear, and the house rests quietly in dawn's soft light. You, too, are safe and calm. Allow the gentle peace of the morning, the quiet of the house, and the memory of the whispers to carry you fully into sleep. Sweet dreams, and may the whispers of the night guide you gently through the hours ahead.